All right, welcome to our week two, sessions two there, okay, for group seven over here. All right. Okay, the only thing that I actually haven't uploaded most of my AI kind of what we call that presentations, okay, online sessions, okay, on my YouTube because I have not done a lot of demonstrations there, okay, because it takes more than preparing basically your mood board, your sketches, basically, okay, on the sessions over here. Okay, that's basically why I not actually upload basically most of the YouTube kind of online sessions back again, right? On these sessions, even though I'm recording them, right? So I might find out, yeah, maybe most of those videos basically is quite boring there. Okay? I actually understand, right? Because I didn't actually focus on editing those kind of importance kind of what we call that sessions that we have. Okay, because I don't have that kind of what called the privilege to work on that. So I just dump everything, basically whatever actually have been record in my YouTubes just for the sake for the students there. Okay. If I want to design a bit more commercial kind of way, look and feels, maybe in the future, we never know there, right? Okay. I've planned it, but I don't know when actually I can work on that, okay? Because I've run over a few number kind of channel and also works directly at the same times. So I don't have basically that kind of privilege at the moment there, unless I might going to be hired someone basically to assist me later on there, okay? Because most of the people basically I've been working on right now busy doing some of the things there, okay? And we actually have been delegated, right? So guys, okay. So for today, I want to see the progressions there, okay? All right. Kayan, you haven't submit, right? Have you done any kind of changes on your works? I want to see you guys working on those AI there, okay, for today. Okay, for today, I'm going to show some demonstrations, some of the methods, some of the techniques there, okay. And one of the most important things that you have to remember when you work with AI, okay, is when you can actually play with those layers, okay. You can actually organize your layers really well, okay. But from you guys can see my screen sharing right now there, right? So if we take a look at my layers organizations over here, I'm not actually using a lot of layers at the moment there. One of the reasons because I don't want to get a lot of what we call that unorganizing kind of what we call that complicated kind of workflows directly. This is basically for my personal kind of use directly. But if you really want to open up different layers, okay, because right now I'm using layers for only for my sketches directly. One, two, and three. All right. One of the most important kind of things that you have to understand about the process of developing your ideas. Okay, some of the students always tell me that okay, they actually have been raised to me that okay, these kind of questions there. Sir, you asked me to combine all these 3 or 4 kind of ideas from my sketches into one single illustrations. How actually I'm going to do it, those kind of things there. Is there okay, for you guys, do you have any kind of that kind of question in your mind there? How actually you're going to combine all these, what we call that, this element that you actually been brought up into your sketches in 5 different way, but how to combine them, right? Huh? Do you have any questions like that? Okay, JD? Okay, no problems there. Thank you very much, Jenny, there, right? For joining us today. Kaman, are you here, Kaman? Kaman still not here. Okay. All right. So if you seems to have that kind of what we call that dilemma, that right? Okay, dilemma on those kind of things, like how is it going to combine them, that right? Okay? My kind of suggestion is simple thing. Okay, you need to find the same kind of theme, the same kind of objective there, the same kind of purpose, basically why you actually produce those kind of sketches. They are going to be related with each other there. You don't have to define yourself to develop different kind of what we call that storyline or storytelling based on the same kind of what we call that objective for your design there. if we take a look at what I actually have been showing you guys, so this is basically my first ideas there, right? Okay, my first ideas spontaneously I developed, okay, with you guys using my own what we call that faces as a part of the models directly. At the same time, I combining all those kind of what we call the elements of those florals together there. But I chose basically some of the florals a little bit more exotics, a bit more into a manly kind of looks there because I want to portray myself not too feminine side, but at the same time I can actually develop those kind of ideas according to those brief there, okay, to those kind of what we call that the objective of those brief there, right? Okay, but I mix them around. Okay, I'm not actually using only florals, but I'm using other elements to support basically those storytellings. All right, natures, technologies. Okay, what we call that animations, animes, whatever that I actually love basically uh, in my basically kind of personal kind of what we call the interests. I'm going to put into those what we call that designer, okay, those kind of compositions there, right? First of all, second thing is okay, I'm not trying to focus too much on those what we call it on this composition based only from those layout there. I try to make it those design a little bit more free form, what we call that independent can be stand alone without having any frames that can be restricted my kind of compositions there. Okay, I want to make the forms a bit more what we call that a bit more flexible there. Okay, the form, the decorations that the arrangements there. That's why I didn't actually draw the whole things to fit an A4 size only, but I try to make those kind of flexibility on those the whole kind of compositions there, the whole form of those design itself there, right? Okay, so this is my first ideas there. Okay, then if I want to maintain the same kind of composition, the same kind of what we call that positions of my models there. Okay, I will try to develop more further, but right now I try to mix up more further on those kind of technologies, natures, at the same times, okay, what we call that a human kind of what we call that reactions if something happens from those natures, okay, if we don't actually preserve or prevent from the natures going to be what we call that are going to be off from those grid there, right? Okay, how actually we're going to portray them visually. So I still basically use the same methods, the same kind of what we call that compositions, but I try to reduce a little bit, okay, for those what we call that on those arrangements, okay. So put it into the whole thing into one single grid there, right? Okay, one single grid there, right? Okay, but I'm still basically combining all those kind of elements together, but I try to do more modifications there, okay, and a little bit more compact and also structured there, right? Okay. So on this composition, right? But it does mean I cannot actually mix them around later on there, okay. So right now, this week, this is the process of developing those ideas from your sketches. At the same time, are we going to construct them in AI? All right, in AI. Even though I actually have done for you guys on the last first week there, okay, how to work with AI, and you guys actually have know how to work with it. So I'm going to go a little bit more further. How we're going to solve some of the problems there. Some of the problems we might going to be have when it comes to construct those kind of line there. Right? Okay, I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to use outline and strokes, okay, just like a cartoon line, okay, or anime manga style, right? Or I'm going to live um, with those what we call it without outline kind of styles of illustrations there. So we can actually mix them up there, guys, okay? But the best way, don't decide, but try to create those elements there first correctly, okay? So this is also can be a part of those the same concept in natures, technologies, okay? How to prevent those kind of what we call that situations if we don't take care of those natures really well, okay? The human being, the living thing are going to be suffered there, okay? So that's why I put the skulls at the same time there, okay? Just look like a robotic kind of things there, okay? To make it a bit more the concept are going to be strong enough to tell the people basically, okay, cannot rely too much on the technologies. At the same time, we must have the balance there, right? Balance there. And of course, on the food chain, basically, okay, on the life cycle kind of change, the nature has to be on top there, okay, not at the below there, okay. This is what basically I can actually recreate basically the stories to match basically with my visual at the same time. All right. So the next one basically be controlling by natures back again. Some aliens, okay, they actually want to develop basically those natures there, right? Okay. So this is basically the things that we can actually relate with one another. I can actually mix them around and combine them at the same time. So, okay. From all these three different sketches there, when I start to develop basically my ideas back again, during the process of creating those kind of elements there, I will basically experiment with different kind of what we call the elements together, right? Okay, that's basically one of the most important process there. It doesn't mean that we actually have sketch. If you can sketch detail, you can. Some people will sketch the whole thing detailing there, okay, and they're going to follow exactly what they have sketched. But what I actually can suggest to you guys, either you can work that way, or when you have that kind of sketches that can be planned really well, now it's time for you to explore, do some explorations based on the element. It doesn't mean that the whole element that you draw, you just follow them. You can actually improvise them at the same time. Okay, most of the element that I try to improvise right here. Okay, for example, that this is what this is the console. Okay, controllers of those PlayStations, for example, okay, games. Okay, games is a part of my interest there basically. Okay, back in the day there again, I play a lot of video games there, right? So I try to connect it also with my ideas at the same time. So okay, it's not basically complete there. Okay, I still have a lot of things have done from it, and I try basically to to get my mood basically to develop this kind of works there. Okay, because it's quite some time actually I didn't touch AI there. Okay, because back in the day I always work in AI there. Okay, but when I actually have started to work with different kind of platform, right? Because of the on the needs of those projects that I've been working on the right, like Photoshop, Adobe Animate or Flash, the right, for animations. So I begin to lost basically my kind of interest basically to work with AI, okay, what we call that, what we call the at time there, right? Okay? But when I actually have need basically to show basically the generations how to work with it, so I'm going to go through back again, right? Okay? So there's a few number kind of tools is quite very not have been modified, have a very new modifications, okay, for the versions that we have right now. So I take a little bit kind of sometimes that to engage with it, okay, again there, okay. But basically, whatever that I'm going to show you guys will basically most of the important tools that you guys need to know and some of the tricks that you have to understand, especially when you want to work with those hairline and structures and shapes and shadows there, those kind of things that we need to do. Uh, if you guys haven't done using those Pathfinder, okay, Pathfinder also is one of a big role for my way of working when I'm working with those when I develop those kind of uh, what we call the elements in AI there, right? Okay, Pathfinders, okay, outline strokes there basically. Okay, how actually we're going to convert from stroke into outline strokes, why basically we have to work with it. Okay, those kind of things I'm going to show you guys, okay, for today there, okay. All right, so far, okay, one of the best thing about AI, okay, for me, okay, you can repeat basically some of the elements like this. You can reuse them back, okay, to make it more balanced there. Okay. This is one of the best thing about what we call that AI lah, right? Okay. So this one, okay, this tree basically, okay, I can use as a part of those roof for the vine and also what we call that, okay, the connection between those eyeballs and also those vine there, right? Okay, on those eyes that they can use them back there, right? And it looks quite very what we call that believable there, okay, in terms of those illustrations kind of works, but still it has to work with the logic there, guys. Okay, yeah, I would suggest for you guys, if you cannot imagine really well, whatever that you guys need to do there, right, always refer to your reference. That's why the mood board, the reference, the influence, the inspiration that you can get from your your visual documentations, that your resources are really important there. Okay. I actually have been using basically AI website. Either I can actually design directly, but or using reference directly, or do some rough sketches directly. So you cannot basically avoid that kind of process on working with your ideas, or during the process of working with your design directly. Don't just try to use your imaginations nakedly, right? Without having enough kind of understanding, okay, to develop your kind of way of working there. Don't actually try to be smart if your level of skills were not there yet, right? Your level of imagination is there, right? So even I'm also will try to find some resources to give more input before I'm going to decide, okay, to use that particular kind of what we call that way or images there, right? Okay, in my mind, okay, to work with those designer, okay. So I'm not saying that I actually purely can use my imagination all the time. That we can use them, but if you want to make it more accurate, please do some reference. Right? Even though this pattern of those roses also, okay, I draw it basically what we call that one petal to one petals there, okay. So those are basically the things. That, but using reference that to work. All right. So this petal basically, if I want to show you guys, okay, those kind of elements that I draw that, okay, it's all based on, but I'm using the same layers there. See, and put some gradients out of it. Right? See, so the shape itself, the gradients, okay, the gradients there. These are the gradient shapes there, right? Okay, using the radial kind of shapes. Okay, using the gradient like this one and change that. See, and change that, right? So this one is one of the new features, right? Okay? New features of those gradients. Change the directions correctly based on those, okay, where basically the light going to be formed there. Okay, a lot of people miss out on this kind of understanding over here. Okay. They always lost on this kind of mislead of this understanding there, right? It works on that. So a little bit kind of tedious on the process lah, right? But this one basically I've done it before. Okay, so I have a few number kind of what we call that stock of vector that, okay, that actually I create. Okay, so I can reuse them back. Okay, to works on that. Same goes to this one there, okay. If you take a look, okay, this is the basic shapes there, and then we combine with those kind of patterns there, okay, based on the reference itself there, okay, based on the reference itself. Okay. So we have to understand how to organize the layers there, okay, to work on that. All right. So, but try not to use a lot of layers into one element. Okay, let's just say you want to create those butterfly there, right? Try not to use, okay, 5, 6, 10 different layers to create one element there, right? Okay? Because it might going to be confuse you. Because when you actually have decided to use these elements, okay, as a part of your what we call that your stock kind of what we call that graphic works there, right? You have to group them back, right? Okay, group them back. Okay, so if you want to what we call that do some changes, okay, ungroup them. Okay, then you can make some changes. Okay, that's the things there. I want to basically check basically whether we can make some sort of like color corrections based on this one there, right? Moving sketch. This is basically some effects there, right? This is only some effects there, okay? I'm not recommend you guys to use these effects yet there, okay, to work on your works there. Last time, basically, there's a color corrections over here there, okay, but you can actually make some color corrections changes there. I don't know whether we have here there, okay, right now. So what I can do, basically, I just basically change the colors over here, okay? There, okay? Just make some changes colors over here. There, right? And then what I can do is change that, right? This is basically a simple task. Right, if you guys seems to use basically a mouse for working with this AI, I recommend you guys to use what we call that, using your tablets to work, start to do those works. You're going to find a bit more faster directly if you're working with those what we call the tablets there, rather than you working with those mouse there. Okay. So the best way for you to work quickly, okay, don't use basically just don't use basically those only. All right, this one basically, okay, have to change a bit there, right? Okay, those kind of colors there, right? Okay, those gradient colors there. And this one, and make some changes there. Okay, to make it a bit more glowing there, more what we call that form of it there, right? That's basically one of those things that we can actually do to make it basically those visuals, not entirely just copy paste there, right? And I can actually go for, all right, so it are mirror tools. Okay, reflections there, right? So because I have grouped them up and play with those elements to make it those elements, right? Okay, those kind of what we call that. The elements look a bit more rich there, right? Okay? In order to develop that kind of composition a bit more busy, more rich directly, and not too crowded at the same time. Because right now we don't have we haven't played with this kind of color scheme there, right? Okay? So I don't actually portray more on the color scheme here. I just try to create those elements there first, okay, to work with it. All right, some of the things that I want to develop from here directly, I want to show you guys directly. Okay, basically, I've cut basically this, what we call this glasses with basically this, right, okay, the screen itself there, right? And one of the things, you guys know basically how to work with it? If you don't know that, okay, I will show you guys back again how it works. Okay, what are basically your kind of what we call that kind of obstacles when it comes to work with these vector illustrations? What are your obstacles, guys? What kind of challenging that you have right here? I know basically your challenges there. Guys, please basically work on it, right? Okay? We got around until 11:30. I want to see your progressions on the vector base. All right, on the vector base there, right? Okay, 11:30 basically, I want to see how actually you're going to construct from your sketches into a vector there, okay? 11:30 there, right? Okay. I'm using my mouse over here, there, right? My tablets over here. So what I can do, all right, you see some of the elements that I can use right here, there, right? One of the things that I've done just now, yesterday, there, okay, is wiring there, okay, and the shadows here. What kind of elements that I can actually reuse back again? Reproduce back again there. If I want to take a look over here, okay, what are the things I can cut over here, right? If I want to make this one transparent, right? Okay, transparent. So one of the simplest way I can do that, okay, from here, I can work with those transparents, opacities, right? Same goes to this one. So if I actually add this kind of elements over here, I can actually create some of the glass effects there, right? So from here, one of the things that I want to do there, okay, I want to create some glass effects there, right? Okay, for example, like this one. But right now, let's just say I'm using basically some colors there. The only white colors. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, right, okay, I'm going to use transparency at first, like this one. Okay. But I want to cut the shapes there, right? Okay. We can use those knife tools, but I don't want to use those knife tools because I don't want to make those kind of selections areas, okay, with the same kind of elements, but I want to make it new kind of shapes there, okay. So what I can do right here, copy the same shapes, go for pathfinders. Basically, where basically my pathfinders there, right? All right, this pathfinders, right? Put it into those layers there. So you're going to use a lot there, okay? Okay, this pathfinder, okay? If I want to cut in the, I want to leave the middles like shapes there. But this one, all this part, okay, I'm going to cut it, right? I'm going to use this intersect, right? See? Make sure basically the whole shapes are going to combine together, okay? The new shapes basically, right? So this one I can delete them. Right, paste back again right here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, transparency, right? All right. Transparency, right? So the wiring, everything can see from there. Okay. You guys get it? That's one of the way there, okay? If I want to make this, what we call that is glasses kind of shapes, okay? Make it more transparent, a little bit more blending, okay? I can use the same gradients right now, but I'm going to change that. Okay. Okay, very light colors over here. Okay, light colors over there. Okay, there, right? But the shapes over the blendings over here, opacity, I can actually reduce. See? To blend it up there, right? You reduce that. I can reduce more if I want to, there, right? Check that again. This kind of positions. And I can change basically this one also there, right? Okay, to blend it up there, right? See, reduce more on the opacity at the same time. Let it up there, right? So that's basically one of the tricks that I'm using already. But I'm not using the mesh gradients, right? One of the reasons I'm not using mesh gradient because I don't want to make the whole files become a bit more bigger and also heavy there, okay, to doing the working process, right? Right now also it's quite heavy because I actually add 3 different sketches on my works there. Okay, that's basically what happens here, right? All right, the hairline itself there, okay. If you want to design a correct hairlines, one of the most important thing that you have to understand, okay, for examples, let's just say we have some of the reference, okay, samples that I can actually get from here. Okay, let's say we're going to get some hairlines kind of shapes there, right? One of the way basically I can actually create them. Okay, I want to have some reference there first. Okay, where is it? Some of the reference from our old samples there. Right, can you see this kind of reference there, right? So how are we going to create these kind of samples of those shadows there? Of those hairline there, right? Okay, I want you guys to define okay, the shapes of the flows of those highlight and the base color first. All right, okay, that's basically one of the most important thing. You lock the files there first, add new layers. Okay. By using basically other than pen tool, I'm using pencil tools. Pencil tools there, right? So I'm going to recreate first of all, not the okay, the first layers are going to be the base for those hair there, right? You can see from here. So I'm going to redraw the shapes of the hair. The more detailing that you actually can add from here, the more better. Hey guys, remember about those contour line drawing? Line drawing, contour line drawing, right? What we actually basically do right now is the same thing, right? That's what I said, okay? If you actually learn correctly how to work with your line drawing and contour line drawings there, right? You're going to find this process of using the pencil tools to draw the shapes of those hair are going to be almost the same there again. The process of working with those kind of line works there, right? That's what I said, okay? It's going to be related there, guys. So when I draw the shapes of those hair, all right, the structures of those hair there, right, okay, you must be able to define those detailings there from here, okay? Remember, right, we're not tracing, but we draw on top of the layers there, right? See, I try to get as details that I can, okay, from those hairline. Hopefully I can get it from here. Add some colors there, right, okay? Add some shapes there, right? See, this is one of those not quite very defined there, but at least we can see the shadows and the shapes of the hair right here. I can do more refining from that if I want to there, right? Okay? If you want to make some refining from here, if you can, right? Okay? So this is not basically quite refined, okay, but it's good enough basically for the first, what we call that base. Okay, right now, how to define the shapes of the hair by using those highlight there. This is the base color, for example, okay? 2 layers difference. So what I can do, I add another layers. Don't forget to save the files there. Okay. Okay, demo number 2. All right, the next layers are going to be the highlight, all right? So the highlights that I'm actually using here, right? This one, basically those, all right? This hairline for the shadows, okay? If I want to make it more better directly, for me to execute, I'm going to reduce first the opacity direct from here, and lock them first. Now I'm going to concentrate with those highlight direct. See the highlight direct. Hopefully it's make it right. Sometimes we need more magic directly on our process of working. Okay. But when you design the flows of the hair, make sure that you can get the right kind of what we call that flows. Okay, make it more refining there, right? Okay, from here. Okay, this is the first hair, the first shadows line. Okay, this is the shadows there. This is a highlight there. Okay, it doesn't have to be the whole thing are going to be in the same grid there, okay? Because the hair structures were basically quite very flexible there, right? So you need to redesign them back there, okay? That's why I say we actually, as the designers, okay, we design things. We're not just following through the whole concept what we see by tracing only there, right? Okay, this is the second step, okay, on the flows. The next one I might going to be right here. Can you guys see basically what I saw right now? It highlight itself there, right? Just like what we did in Photoshop there before, but a little bit kind of like very solid kind of shapes there that we try to produce. So this one, right? The third kind of layering there. The flows, okay, I'm still using the flows of those hair to work on that. The more that you actually try to define the shapes of those highlights, the more kind of what we call that logic that we can see from this shadows line that you try to produce, shapes that you produce on those hairline. But let's just say we have these 3-4 different layers there, right? So the next thing that we can do is just package the opacity. See? It doesn't have to be look realistic all the time, but it look believable there. See? Only 2 layers there to work on that. 2 layers there to work on that to make it more realistic there, right? Okay? But it doesn't have to be look perfectly like the photos there, right? If you actually go to any kind of Google, right, kind of reference, okay, from the vector-based illustrations there, right? You guys can see the same kind of process that we're working on from here. See, it doesn't have to be look realistic, but it look believable from here. Okay, same goes to this one. This one a bit more details, lah. Okay, a bit more details there. I don't want to go through with this kind of styles there. Okay, I want you guys to work with this kind of very what we call that segmented kind of what we call that illustration styles. Okay, to make it more stylized, a bit more simplified, and a little bit more modern kind of look there, right? The shape itself there. So go for reference, okay? Always go for reference all the time, okay? In order for you to develop your kind of methods of working there. Okay? See this one there, okay? How many layers that we have? Only 3 layers there. 3 layers there, the base colors, shadows, and also highlight there, okay? But they looks believable because they show the flows of those hairlines. That's the most important thing there. Same goes to this one. Okay? There's 3 different layers there, but they show the flows of the hair. All right. That's basically one of the tricks that you guys can playing around with it. Right. I can use this kind of vector shapes, okay, for examples. Let me complete this one there first. Whether I can use also for my own usage, I don't know that, right? Okay, take a look at this. Okay, what if I want to draw these hairlines? Okay. It has to be look believable, guys. Okay. So when you draw those hair, you must understand the flows there. See the flows itself there, right? I can make it a little bit more fine from this hair, like this one there. Okay? You must understand about the flows of the hair, basically, right? It works with it. So if I'm satisfied with this one, select all, group that, what correct, sorry, there, group that first, save the files. Right? Can I put right here? Right. Yes. Copy them, group, copy them, right? Yes. Can I actually write mirrors is one, right? Change. For this one scale that's already there, right? Yeah, I've grouped them. Now I can scale there, right? There. For example, there, right? Okay, for example, it can be used there, okay, to add all my different elements there, right? The best way you guys play with the layers. So this one, and I can regroup them back, right? Okay. So those are the things, guys. Okay, if you're really smart enough to work with your works, okay, you guys can actually manipulate all those elements all together. It's going to become heavy directly because there is a sketches on that. Okay. The other way, basically, you guys can work with those kind of element of those hair. All right. For example, like this one, right? Let's say you want to put some gradients there. Blend it out. Okay. Always duplicate them. Just gradients, colors there, right? Put it right here. Right? Another blending colors there. Close this one. Okay. Can I blend it out? Okay, now I'm trying to blend it out there, right? See, blend it out there, right? Huh? So blending the shadows kind of line there, right? So select that, right? Yeah. Try to blend it out there, right? This is also one of the best way for you guys to blend without using a gradient mesh there, okay? Because gradient mesh are going to make your files a bit more heavy. So that's why I didn't recommend you guys to work on that. Okay. And the other way around, you guys can work with those kind of hairlines, okay? Because I know because a lot of girls, right, okay, ladies right now, when they draw those hair for their kind of what we call that element of those faces there, okay, they don't actually try to remodify your hairline. Okay, that's the problem there. Okay, you don't remodify them there, right? You just follow back again on your photos there. Okay, that's basically not the point that we're going to create those kind of creativities on that. Can you see there? Okay, the hairline that I create right now. Okay, I'm not following basically the orders there, right? So if I want to create some highlights over here, what I can do, yeah, I will create those kind of highlights a bit over here. But sometimes it doesn't have to be accurate, guys, okay? Okay, just complete the shapes, okay, like this one there, right? Yeah. See the highlights there, right? If you have reference, more better, like, okay? Don't just imagine them, right, guys, okay? Remember that. Don't just try to imagine smart enough, you thought that you can make it right. Because to design something, right, okay, from scratch, if you don't have enough kind of reference or understanding, please don't basically imagine what we call that raw from your wild kind of imaginations in your mind there. Okay? Please have reference that reference to guide you guys to work on that. Okay? That's basically the thing here. Same goes to what I want to do from here. Okay? If I want to create basically those eyebrows there, okay? Eyebrow there, okay? So I want to refer on my eyebrows, okay, but I can imagine them, right? See? Those eyebrows there. Okay. So design the shapes itself. Okay. See? The eyebrows itself there, right? So the most common problem that we have basically how to define the shadows there on the faces itself there, right? On the faces there. If we check look right now from here, the shadow shapes there, right? So what I can do from here, okay? I want to show some reference more better there, okay? So let us say add new layers first. So the shadow shapes, right? To define the shadow shapes there. So what you can do, this is the shadows line. Can you see those shadows line? If you cannot see that, right? That means basically your kind of understanding how to portray the concept of shadowing there, okay, on your drawings still basically need a lot of practice there, okay, to develop that kind of observations, techniques at the same time. I try to basically complete basically those path directly on the point itself to make it more refining. Try to basically try to what we call that unite them first, then try to refine back. Making too messy over here. Okay. So look messy there, right? Yeah. Okay. Refine those kind of elements of those points there, okay? So what I can do from here, I can select the colors like this one there, right? See? And then this part basically has the shadows, but we have to define them carefully. Yes. Not too much, but you actually can redesign them. You can actually design the patterns of it. The shadows part on here directly. The shadows there first. Not the nose hole, the shadows there, right? You want to design the nose holes? Simple there, right? Right? What you can do, this part there, right? Your nose hole there. Same goes to this one, right? Okay? Zoom in there first. There. The nose hole. The nose trail there, right? Okay? Right. If we take a look right now, we have the shadows there. And the other part of the shadows has to be right here. It's not ellipse, but shadows there. And of course, this part right. Okay. Generally, basically what we're going to do for the vector kind of illustrations normally, okay, we try to define the shapes that form basically the structures there. Sometimes the new features that I use, okay, is basically been define different kind of forms, right? Different kind of way, okay, of working with my tools there, right? The shadows there, okay? The ears there, okay? A lot of people have this kind of problems there. Draw the shapes of the ears there, right? What I can do, okay? Define the shapes of it as a shadows line, and this part there, right? Looks simple, right? Okay, but it takes very what we call that precise kind of what we call that way, okay, to understand about the shape itself before we're going to develop basically the whole structures that again. Can you see the design itself of those shadows? Same goes when you use your own faces there to work on that. Okay, if I use my own faces there to work on that, this is the thing that I'm going to do there, right? From here, okay, using pencil tools is more faster still, guys. Now I'm going to define basically those eyes. One of the best way for me to work on that. Yeah. The eyes there. Okay, the shapes of it. They define the shapes of those eyes there first. Then slowly I can add more and more details if I want to. Maybe I can add some highlights first. This one. Copy there, right? You can see those details there. Those eyes there, okay? We can see more and more details if I want to directly. The lips itself, okay. What we need to do basically, we draw also the same things. Define first the line lips there. Okay. Define first the line lips there, right? Change the colors there first. After that, then you can design those upper lips. And when you draw back again, all right, your subject matters like this one there, right? You send it to back. Make sure basically, okay, one of the most challenging part that you guys need to do there, right, is by scoring back again those kind of faces that people can recognize as a part of those person that you want to design them back. This one I'm going to light a little bit at first, and later on I'm going to add basically those kind of highlights there. When you see all these kind of shadows there, of the shapes over here. So this one is take by practice there, guys, okay? Shadows over here. Okay, there's some shadows over there. So what I can do, some shadows line, right, of those lips. And send it to back. See? Same goes to this part there, right? There, send it to back. Still look as the person that I try to draw there, right? That's basically the key. Okay? If you can actually draw someone according to those person that you try to draw, they look someone else, that's basically the problem there. That's basically the thing that you have to control and develop and improve back again. All right. So what else that we can do from here? The eyebrows there, right? See how actually I draw those eyebrows there. Even though I draw those eyebrows in different kind of way, still can match basically with those. Person that I try to draw. Remember, right? We are not actually right just trace them. We draw them, guys. Okay? We draw them there. That's the most important thing about those vector illustrations. All right, guys. See there, okay, without any complete kind of facial structures there, okay, I still can define that. What if you want to using those outline there, okay? You guys can use outline if you want to. Let's just say this part basically. To draw some outlines over here. Experiment them, guys. Okay, exploring those kind of methods and techniques. Okay. Outlines over here. And then you can put those outlines also over here. Just exploring those techniques there. Mix them up all together, okay? Even though it's not going to be look right at the moment, don't worry there, right? Playing around with it at first. Okay, I'm going to start to work with those detailing with the outline. Okay. Then you will find your own styles there, okay, to define them. It doesn't mean you're going to draw those, what we call that, for example, one of the say, which is we have to work with a pop art style or vector style. Remember, guys, vector is a medium that you use right now. It's not the styles there. Okay, vector is the mediums there. Right? It's just like Photoshop is your mediums there. It's not basically a styles. Styles, okay, pop up, what we call that, surrealist there, okay, fantasies there, all right. Scumbling, that's basically a styles there, right? Vector is basically a base kind of mediums that you're going to use to represent your works. This one, send to back or bring to front there, right? Okay, shapes over here. It bring to front. Now bring to front. That's why I cannot bring to front. Okay, this is basically different layers there. I actually use the same colors or difference, okay? This one, there. You can copy the right. So lazy enough to what we call that, do the same kind of shapes. I just can copy the okay, cut over here, add to the different layers there. Right? Okay. You see, right? Okay, I combining the outline They mixed up the outline also with the shadows at the same time, so okay, to make it a little bit more different on the presentations. So I can do the same thing with the lips if I want to there, okay, to work with that. Okay, it's all based on your explorations there. I love vectors very much, okay. I really, really like it, but because of those works that I've done right now, it's not basically put mine in the positions to work with those vectors, kind of what we call that works anymore. So I not basically exploring too much on that, right? But I really love them, right? Basically, right before this, right? This is like a for me sometimes it feel like I have lost love, right? On the tools there, but still can catching up there, right? So let's just say that I want to design basically this. Okay, let's just say normally people will draw the whole things according to your reference there. What I can do right now, I actually can redesign them, right? See? To make it a little bit more like a melting kind of shapes there. Right? It can be look like this one also at the same time. See? This part basically right here, I can cut them right. Sorry. Cut them just like this one here. Cut this one. I can right there. See? Follow exactly what we want basically from those reference that we can actually go through in different kind of way that works. Even though this one basically doesn't look quite fine. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. Maybe this one. Let's say that right. I want to design see maybe the broken heart there right there. What I can do from here. So creativities can become along the way there, guys, okay? When you start to develop the kind of understanding on your works. So what I can do from here, basically my pathfinders there. Okay, cut this part right. Yeah. Okay. I can actually redevelop all those kind of creativities along the way. So the shadows from those layers, so this is basically continuing the shadows there, right? So what I can do, this part, I can continue them back. Yeah. This part that basically, right, okay, it's not logic enough there, right? And you, so I'm going to okay, work like this one, right? Yeah. See? Make it more interesting on the presentations there, okay? And logic at the same time. So these both can combine all together there because otherwise it looks quite weird there, okay? Find this, unite. See? You see the guys, okay? This is the thing that we actually can go through basically to develop basically the fine works there. Other than we using the sketches there, okay, as our reference. But I just want to show you guys the techniques there, how it works there. Correctly back again to develop the more refined kind of, if you use your own photos there, okay, you redraw back again and you try to combine all those elements together, okay, this is also some of the way basically you guys can work with it back again, okay, on the sketches itself. All right. Okay, guys. So make sure when you redraw and you redefine back again your own photos there, okay, make sure we can be recognizable, right? Can be recognizable there, okay, as yourself. All right. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Why are you guys basically quite quiet there? Okay, just wait, because you can focus on your works, is it? All right, I'm going to call names right now to see basically what you guys been working on, okay? All right, Sunwei, can you share your screen? All right, share your screen right now, okay? Prepare yourself. Okay, I'm going to call randomly there, guys, okay? And of course, okay, Cayenne, you have to prepare yourself there, right? You're going to
share my Illustrator or PowerPoint.
Illustrator there, right? Kaman is here. Are you here, Kaman, there, right? Lim Kahman is not here. Okay. Okay, the hairline, okay. Sunwei, make sure you refer your hairline, okay, correctly there, right? That's the thing. You using pen tool or using pencil tools there?
Pen tool.
Pen tool using mouse or using what we call that?
A mouse.
Try to use pen upper, what we call that? Your tablets and also pencil tool to work with your hairline, right?
Tablet kind of hard to control.
Hey, how hard control there, okay? You working with your tablet before there, right?
No, I shaking.
Shaking, right? Try to exercise your hands like this one there, right? Huh?
All right.
Huh? Try to make it not shaking there. Hey, work with those tablets. Try to work with those tablets there.
Using tablet.
Using tablet. Guys, I want you guys to work with your tablets when you come to work with this AI there, okay? And using pencil tools there. We only using pen tools if you want to make the geometric shapes. Okay? 20 years ago, when basically the tablets doesn't have any convenience, okay, for public usage, we're using mouse a lot. Okay, we're using mouse a lot there. Right now, tablet is one of the what we call that a must-have criteria, okay, on the designers and the students. Use tablets, pencil tools to work on that. You see, okay, you spend a lot of time to make some adjustment from here using those pen tools there. If you can use those tablets, use tablets to work on that back again. So wait, I want you to change right now.
Oh.
All right. Hui Min basically had demonstrated for us basically yesterday when using tablet is more faster. And using pencil tools, okay? When using tablet, using pencil tools there to make some arrangement, right? Okay, make some changes there, right? Okay, from now on, every one of you guys there. Okay, thank you very much there, right, Sungwei?
Okay.
Okay, make some changes there. Don't stubborn enough, okay, not to follow basically exactly what I've told.
All right.
All right, because I want to make your works a bit more faster there. Can you see how fast basically I've done basically those faces today?
Yep.
All right, I'm using pencils, tools, and also tablets that to works. Most of the time, I'm using tablet there. Okay, rarely I'm using mouse. Okay, I'm using mouse only to play games. All right. Remember that, okay? We only were using mouse to play Dota games and Counter-Strike or whatever games that we want to play there, right? Okay. Kayan, are you ready, Kayan? Share your screen. So remember, guys, okay? We only use mouse to play games most of the time there, or doing some paperwork there, right? Tablets, basically, we use for doing some design works. That's why we're using those tablets there. Even to make a fast results, you must make some changes, right? Okay, Kayan. Try to see, okay, what you've got over there.
Sorry, sir. I haven't started doing a AI yet.
Okay, I want to see how actually you work with AI.
Oh, okay.
You must be pro right now because why? You have several semesters work with the same kind of subjects there. Right? I think your skill is more better than me there, right? Okay, if you want to create some shapes, okay, off there first. Okay, good. Okay. Off the strokes there first.
Stroke.
Then create the shape if you want to there, right? Some people actually work with the line stroke first, okay? But some people can work with shapes there, depending there, right? Okay, we want to see basically how Kayan actually work on that. Okay, you have time, okay? I think around 15 minutes there, okay? We can see some demonstration from Kayan there, right? Guys, okay, don't forget, okay, make some changes. Don't use mouse, okay, on doing your works over here. Why you actually cannot make the shapes, right? Because you're using brush, not pencil tools then. Pencil tool shortcut key is N there, right? Brush can be used to create some outline, but to create shapes, you can use pencil tools that works. How actually you're going to create this kind of line there, okay? If you cannot see the layers there.
Yeah, I need to reduce the opacity.
Either you can actually reduce opacity or you create new layers there first, there, right? Okay, to create some outline, and then you can combine them together there after you complete them. Okay, this Sunday there, guys, I want to see the progression on your vector-based illustrations there, okay? put into the process of PDF format directly at the same times, at the same folders there, but different kind of files directly. Okay.
Sorry, sir, but where do I reduce the opacity because I cannot find.
The opacity basically were in, what we call that. You can see some transparency directly. Shift Control F10. On the window, we can see transparency directly. Transparency, what we call that, folders there, right? Okay. Can you get it?
Right? Yes, but
You have to
it
select
hasn't
first, my
changed.
dear.
Oh,
Select first. Click Control and select that, right? And then you can change the transparency there. Okay. Can you zoom in directly? If you want to create more refined kind of line works, okay, for those patterns there, okay, always zoom in directly. And you actually can draw them separately there first, okay? Don't draw the whole things combined. You can combine it back again later on, but you can draw those lines separately there first, okay? Separate kind of, not separate layers, but separate shapes there. A bit more better to add some of the details there. So don't let yourself frozen there, guys, okay? Same goes to me there, right, okay? So open up our mind to make some changes over here. It will give you a lot of benefits to develop your creative process at the same time. You can draw separately there, okay, Cayenne. Okay, one of the best way for you to work there, okay? You draw separately there, okay? You deselect the shapes that you have been done before, and then you try to draw another patterns there. That's basically a more safe way, basically, you guys can use on, okay? After that, when you complete them, you select them and unite using pathfinders there. Guys, it's now I just lost my connections. I don't know why they're like. I think those things happens to me okay several times for I think for this week, right? Okay, my connections were here, okay. My data also been refilled, right? All right, Kayan, thank you very much, okay, for your sharing there, okay. So continue to work on that. Please basically submit those works accordingly to the progressions there, okay. I want to see more on these works from here. All right, submit them basically, okay, on this Sunday there, okay, to work on that. So you have submit basically your kind of progression on sketches over here. Thank you very much there. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome there, right. All right, the last one there, okay, before we go into the, what we're going to basically dismiss. All right. All right, Zhen Xiong there. Zhen Xiong, are you ready, Zhen Xiong? So we can see some of the sketches from you basically right here. Okay, good, all right.
Yeah, so last time I haven't shared my sketches.
Okay, you can share your sketches, huh?
So for now, I got two only lah.
Okay. Okay, try to draw basically those cactus, okay, correctly there, okay, on your sketches before you're going to turn into those vector based there, right? Can you share there, okay, properly there, okay? I can see those details there. This one is not complete there, right?
Yeah.
Please complete there, okay? We have 5 different sketches there. Remember there, okay?
Okay.
For those who haven't completed, okay, please make sure you define at least 5 different sketches there, all right? Kayan, you're going to choose the second sketches, right, to work on it. If you can combine those elements together, it's more better than Kayan there, okay? Remember what I said there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Zhenxiang, where is it, all right? How many sketches that you have? Only one only.
Two, but the another one is just a minor adjustment.
Can I see basically the progress from there? And the other one, right, okay, Kayan, okay, please submit in PDF format there, okay? Properly there, okay, to work on that. One of the samples that I saw from your friend that we can use as a part of those examples there. Please add also your mood board at the same time there, right? Okay, your reference there, your inspirations at the same time there, right? So this is one of the example of your friend. At least we have the mood board from here. Okay, Kayan and the rest of you guys, Zen Jiong, the same thing there, okay? I want you basically to see your kind of inspirations there when you actually develop your ideas. Okay, this is one of those methods that you guys can do to work there. Okay. This one from Sandra there, right? Okay, this is a little bit more properly done on the presentations. All right, Zhen Chiong, Kayan, and the rest of you guys. So Sandra have done a few number kind of mood board reference samples here, okay, to develop them. Okay, this is also a good example thing. Even though there's a few number kind of examples also, it's quite very great there, okay, to work on that. And let me check, okay, Ashira over here. Okay, Ashira basically creatively, okay, she's done her own kind of way of presenting the works, okay, all this kind of decorative kind of things, a bit more like a feminine side, okay, but it's good, right, okay, to show basically your kind of taste of becoming basically those multimedia designers there, right, okay. Even though sometimes this kind of decorative is quite distractive a little bit there, okay, don't do it overdo too much, right, okay, on those decorative on your compositions, on the presentation. For the first page, it's okay. Second page, third page, if you want to deliver basically your kind of informations, your visual there, okay, please don't put too much decorative kind of elements inside your layout there, okay, a bit more subtle, a bit there, okay, because we want to focus on your presentation, on your visuals there. Those are basically the most important thing, okay, when you want to present your works like this one. Oh, I'm not showing the screen there, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, this is the one there, okay? This is what Sandra actually have been done there, right, okay? One of the examples over here. Okay, so too much decorative also can be distract your presentations there, okay? The first page, yes, you guys can use there, okay? I've shared my screen there.
Yes.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah.
All right. All right, this one there, right? So the first page, basically, you guys can actually decorate your presentations there, okay? For your titles there, okay? But when it comes to present basically your findings, your reference, your research, your inspiration there, okay? Your visual documentations. You don't have to put a lot of decorations there, okay? Focus more on your kind of objective to presenting your works there, okay? Make it a bit more subtle for those what we call the templates there, right? Huh? Okay, that's the best way for you guys to go there. All right. So what we have basically right here, right? Like Cayenne basically have 3 different sketches there. If you can actually add more just to develop your ideas and understanding, okay, and combine them, it's more better there, right? Okay. Because most of the elements, this one is still quite interesting, but it's too much on those decorative on these plants, okay. But one of the best way, if you can create one plant over here, quite detailed, you can actually duplicate them. That's basically one of the smartest way there, right? Okay, to work with those kind of elements here. Okay. But this position is quite interesting there, right? Okay. See your kind of compositions there, but the element that you use, try to make it up there, right? Okay, right? Rearrange and blend it really well there. All right. The best way for you guys to start, okay, start with the faces there first. To create those kind of mood, don't be afraid there, okay, that you not going to be willing to get those perfections at the first stage. But always start with the faces there, okay, the hairline faces there, okay, to get the mood to develop those kind of process. Okay, guys, any questions? Any questions? Any kind of inquiries? Please let me know there, okay? On Sunday, I want to see those progressions on your AI. Okay, on your AI there, right? Okay, what I can do, okay, in AI, I can actually resubmit them and show me the process of working there, right? Okay, at the same time, like I will show you guys. Okay, I will send it over basically my kind of what we call the progressions there, right? Okay, using those PDF also, okay, just to give you guys a little example how it works, okay. And if you not follow exactly what I told, okay, that's why makes basically I'm going to aim you guys to develop a little bit more further kind of proper kind of presentations. All right, but I believe that you guys are a little bit more better and smarter than me, okay, how to work on that. All right, so thank you very much, guys. I see you guys around next week. Don't forget on the Sunday there to submit your progressions on the same folders but different kind of files there, okay? And try to make it, okay, each week kind of what we call that submissions into one PDF there, okay? Don't separate them, okay? Each week's one PDF, but don't separate the files there. Okay, we just separate the files according to the weekly kind of progressions. All right. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend at the same time, there, guys. Okay. I'm going to have another sessions after this around 12 o'clock with group 2. And all the best. See you guys around. Take care of yourself. Have a good day, and also have a good lunch there. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.